Hi everyone. I saw Star Wars, The Last Jedi over the weekend at IMAX. If Star Wars fan or not Star Wars fan, uh, if you are going to see Star Wars, I would recommend seeing it in an IMAX theater, not a fake IMAX theater with the half a screen, but an actual true IMAX theater. It's definitely worth the experience. It's a spectacle. It's kind of similar in the vein of like Avengers movies and things like that. Large set pieces. Definitely something you should experience in IMAX. I will, before I get into kind of like the review and discussion and things I didn't, I can praise and also be critical of. I did not grow up a Star Wars fan. My parents weren't into it, so it says something I wasn't. It seems to be the general idea, is that you get introduced to it while you're young, and I did not. I didn't see any portion of any Star Wars movie until I was probably in my like mid-teens. My introduction to the actors and the characters was very different than yours. In this case, Mark Hamill has always been Luke Skywalker to most of you, whereas to me, he was the Joker from the animated series Batman. That was really my first introduction to him.
Have arrangements to discuss. Arrangements? For my fish, of course. This has all been worked out far in advance, Francis. You are merely the last tiny cog in my grand design. So don't speak to me again, okay?
And Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia to you, was always this to me.
Is that girl?
Well, Jake, you look just fine down there, slithering in the mud like a vermin.
No problem.
You're not going to get away from me this time.
I had seen so many other movies, your Terminators, your Aliens, your Die Hards, so many other types of films, Back to the Future, things like that, that going back to that kind of that, models and bad CGI that didn't really age well, it was kind of lost on me, as far as like the Star Wars. And then when the new ones came out, not really new ones, but the episode 1, 2, and 3, I was told from people who were Star Wars fans to never see them, so I never did. My son has, been into Star Wars for a while, so it let me kind of reboot, get into a new appreciation of it. So I did see The Force Awakens. I actually enjoyed The Force Awakens. I didn't realize how much The Force Awakens was basically a remake, not a shot-for-shot remake like Gus Van Sant Psycho, but a almost shot-for-shot remake of A New Hope. I wasn't a big enough Star Wars fan to be aware of that. So I will say with these new movies, I'm coming at it a little bit differently than, say, a Star Wars, somebody that's grown up on Star Wars, because that Force Awakens was like new to me, even though it was the same kind of like rehash story with new characters. For other people, I could see the criticisms of that, and so going into The Last Jedi, and I didn't see Rogue One either. I was told that Rogue One's good, but it's unnecessary to this current, especially in relation to The Last Jedi. So I didn't see that either. So coming into The Last Jedi, I knew a little bit. So there were things I liked, there were things I did not like, and I want to go over a few of those things right now. So let's address some criticisms, things that I did not really like or understand, and I'll probably butcher some names. There may be things I missed, so if this is something I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video. Things I didn't understand or like, Princess Leia had I thought she didn't have any powers. I thought she didn't have any sort of force or Jedi mind powers or anything, but yet she flew out of the spaceship. The hatch blew up. She flew out into space. She awoke and floated back into the ship and then was put on oxygen. Like, that took it all out of her. I don't understand. I thought she didn't have any powers at all. Like, I'm confused by this. Is it something where she showed powers in other movies that I was not aware of? But that was a very odd sequence to me because, like I said, I don't know enough about it, so maybe she did, but if she didn't, I don't understand. So help me understand that. Now, we're supposed to take kind of every character at their word, but when it comes to Snoke, the combination of Jason Voorhees without the mask, Freddy Krueger's face, and like a ball sack basically meshed together to create a character. That's no knock on Andy Serkis, because he's, you know, if you're going into mocap facial expressions, he's your guy. But what was his purpose? They had no backstory, and in that scene where he got turned on, he's spouting off that he knows all, he sees all, he knows Kylo's every move before he makes it. Well, if he knows Kylo's every move before he makes it, and if he's some grand master of this, why couldn't he see that was going to happen? Like, is it, and how is this person, how did he even become the Grand Master of anything when he has no, like, there was only a few people that could have rose to that absolute power, and most of the characters have been fleshed out, but he has no backstory. So it was almost like he was like a filler, kind of like a filler villain. It seems kind of hokey a little bit. Like I said, I don't understand the true, maybe there's more that I missed because I don't understand things, but that seems odd and out of place. It seemed like this movie did not know what to do. It was basically like taking the reins from someone else in case, so like J.J. Abrams set up a story to kind of roll into, and then in this episode, most of that story, or most of those things that were kind of like building points, like steps up a staircase, were then kind of taken away by useless one-liners. Now, it's one-liners that they could talk their way out of. I always a big fan of the one-line throwaway. That thing in movies where somebody's like, hey, I thought you were dead. And it's like, well, this experiment happened and boom, I'm alive. And then they never speak of it again. So when it came down to Rey's parents, and I know everybody I knew who was Star Wars fans was like, oh, Rey's parents, who's it going to be? Is she, some long lost, Obi-Wan Kenobi descendant or something like that, and you find out it's like, oh, it was trash people who sold them for like beer money, or sold her for beer money. Doesn't that kind of poo-poo on that like a little bit? Like, it's like any person can have these like great powers. Like, she's nothing special, she's just a regular person. Doesn't that seem like something lost there, that all these people had to, rise through, that they were destined to be this person, and here this girl is some, on the trash heap that became the last Jedi, something like that. I don't know, that seemed a little, and that seemed like all hype for nothing. I mean, I don't know if it's mine. I can see where other people would be upset by this. Now, what is with trailers giving away very important details of movies now? I remember if you watch any trailer of like a movie from like the 70s, it'll show you the entire film. Like, you wouldn't even need to watch it. And then they kind of went away from that. They were doing like teases where you'd see like little snippets at a time, but still they'd make you want to watch the movie. We seem to be going back to that 70s era thing where they're showing the entire movie in trailers. Before Star Wars, they had a preview for The Commuter, and it was a Liam Neeson movie, taken on a train, basically, whatever it is. But it showed the entire film like, I wouldn't even need to see that movie. I know almost entirely what happens in the movie. They showed people die, they showed all types of stuff. But in The Last Jedi trailers, even on TV spots, they had a thing where Rey pulled Kylo Ren's lightsaber into her hands and started, swinging it. And it's like, well, that's a big reveal. Like, that's something you would put in a trailer? Does that make any sense? Didn't make any sense to me. I don't know why you're giving away stuff when, like, especially with Star Wars. Like, you don't need to, like, I have people that wanted to go see Star Wars, so I went to see Star Wars. But, I mean, you're not getting new people to, like, go and see Star Wars. It's not like, ooh, the fun new Star Wars. You're either, been a fan, someone that is a fan, your kid's a fan. You're not bringing in, like, new audience to this franchise. Like, it doesn't need a new audience. It's already a big, expansive audience. My favorite scene, probably in the whole movie, for me, was kind of the standoff between Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren. A lot of build-up, kind of cool. There are things I didn't notice that I found out later after the fact, like, I guess when he's walking over the salt, that he didn't leave any footprints, and that there were certain other giveaways, like he looked, his hair was shorter, it was darker, his beard was darker, he looked younger, certain details that would kind of give away what was going on. But all I could think of was, I've seen something very similar to this before. I've seen this in a movie.
Very funny. Yeah. I hope it was worth it. For now you are going to die. Everybody does. Kill him. And bring me the Rio unit.
Sir, we're still broadcasting.
Good. Let him watch. Do it. Do it! I'm out of command! Fire!
He's not even here, he's a hologram!
Catches on quick, doesn't she?
So yeah, Snake Plissken is Luke Skywalker. That the scene where they fired everything and, he walked right through it. He put the lightsaber through him. Nothing happened. And you find out he's a hologram, basically. It was a cool scene, cool moment, but, sometimes you can sample from a movie and sometimes you can kind of steal aspects of the movie. In this case, I mean, it could be my personal opinion, but Star Wars pulled from John Carpenter there. I mean, if you see that clip that I just showed and you don't see the similarities, I don't know what I can do for you. Did they have to kill Luke Skywalker? I mean, you're talking an iconic character that has been there since the beginning. Like the story was about Jedi. This was about, was about Luke. Luke was your guy from the beginning. Now, it could be one of those situations similar to Harrison Ford where he's like, hey, I'm not doing any more movies. I didn't want to do any more movies. Kill me off. And maybe you justify it that way. But if he was open to doing more films and you're like, no, we're gonna have you, turn into dust, kind of like Obi-Wan did and Yoda did, and it's like, and that feels like cheap, kind of. It feels like they could have done better with it and they just didn't know what to do and they didn't want to put him in any more movies, so they just went like, well, let's have him embrace it and then float into the wind. And it just seemed like there's so many better ways they could have done it, and they, to kill off an all-time iconic character. I mean, I was a Star Wars fan growing up, but obviously you know who Luke Skywalker is. It was, you know, it was the Jordan, the franchise. And you just killed him off kind of unceremoniously. I mean, yeah, he was in, you know, he had that last, like, hologram battle, but is that good? Like, is that great to kill? No, where do you go from there, I guess, is that you're saying, okay, we'll raise the true one, she will carry the lamp moving forward, but it didn't seem that they knew what to do with Finn, so they added this character, Rose, who, you know, I mean, it wasn't that she wasn't a bad character, but so they go off on this, I don't know, like, for anybody that watches The Walking Dead, they go off on these missions that don't lead to anything. Like, they go there for a stupid purpose. Like, it's like, oh, we need to get supplies, and we saw that this building had supplies, so we're going to go there. And then they go to that building, and there's no supplies, and then they end up getting caught by some people they didn't know were there, and then they get out, only to find out that, you know, it was a failed trip, and nobody even remembers the supplies or the purpose they went there. The Finn Rose trip to the planet with the casino and kind of like the rich and poor dynamic, you know, it was an interesting planet to see, things like that. But doesn't the whole storyline kind of feel like a wasted trip, like a failure in a sense? They went there, they didn't even find the guy that they were looking for. They found another guy who kind of did it, but then they got caught, and then that guy sold them out and sold the ships out. I don't know. I mean, did that seem like most of the movie was trying to get from point A to point B, but they didn't really feel like they had a place for Finn, so they just kind of like wedged this storyline in. I don't know. It felt like filler. It was filler. Also, this red-haired general guy, I mean, they were supposed to try to, you know, pawn him off like he's some main sadistic villain. He's, you know, a murderous, you know, he's gonna kill them without mercy. And they turned him into like Moe from The Simpsons, where he's getting pranked phone called, and then he gets thrown around by Snoke, he gets thrown around by Kylo Ren, he gets, you know, he doesn't, and his plan, and help me with this, because I don't understand, his plan is to shoot at the ship with the people every few minutes, like one cannon every 5 minutes, until eventually you then kill them all. Why wouldn't you just rapid fire? Did I miss something where they couldn't just start shooting? Of course, if they kill all the people in the first 5 minutes, there wouldn't be a movie, but it's the most plodding, like, space battle that ever was. It's like, okay, we're gonna, even when the little boats were going to the planet and they decided to shoot them, they shot them like once every like 2 minutes. They'd shoot another one. Is there any reason why that occurred? I'd love to know. Please leave any comments if you agree, disagree with what I'm saying. Speaking of a waste, Captain Phasma, I mean, she looks, look, it's a chrome stormtrooper outfit, looked good in the posters, looked good in the trailers, but really, what did she do? Nothing. She walked around a couple times. They had a nice, cool, like, looks good for the trailers, battle with Finn for like 5 minutes, and she fell into a hole. And that's it. Like, she didn't do really anything in the Force Awakens either. It was just like, oh, you know, here's this character, looks really cool. Let's do nothing with them and then just waste them. That for me, like, it was like, okay, well, you know, we thought of this good idea. We literally have nothing for you, though, so we're just going to kill you off unceremoniously with no real point other than we have no purpose or place for you. I mean, all in all, I liked the film. I was entertained by the film. I thought it was good. I thought the characters were good. I thought, Mark Hamill had a great performance. I thought everybody did their best given the circumstances. I thought actually that the people that I thought would kind of take you out of it, and they do a little bit, Laura Dern, Benicio del Toro, like bigger actors, people that are established, that have been in established movies before. I thought they would take something away from it, but they handled their performances as well. Did Laura Dern's character, did she need to be on the ship to send it into hyperspeed through the thing? Couldn't she have just done that? Or is the idea that she was going into hyperspeed was on her, but she couldn't have, she had to stay behind with the ship as like some gesture? Initially that wasn't the plan, is for her to go to hyperspeed. It was just something that she did after she was on the ship. So I think if you're a Star Wars outsider, I think you will like The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens to that extent more than people that have been kind of born and raised on Star Wars movies. Not saying it, because there's people that are Star Wars fans, lifelong Star Wars fans, that do like The Last Jedi, but I can understand the criticism as well of killing iconic characters and kind of, treading on some of the things that made Star Wars, and doing so in such a way, can push portions of the fan base back. But they're trying to, Disney's, they're not letting that money go to waste. They're trying to set up future franchises, things years from now. So they want to, out with the old and in with the new. If you can get your homegrown characters in there, to set up future movies. I get why they're doing that. It's just, I think for people that are lifelong Star Wars fans that are upset by The Last Jedi, I could certainly see that point as well. But let me know what you thought. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more movie reviews and things like this. But thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.